So with that, welcome everyone to today's webinar with Barcode AI. And today we're diving into the AI and AR technologies of this SDK, giving a deep dive into the technical aspects of the solution. If you've been with us over the past week, you'll know that this is our fifth webinar of the series, 5 of 5. We've done product overviews, we've done dives into both retail and logistics, and today we are going technical. So we're very excited to be here with you to do this session, and it's one that we've been looking forward to. So we're very happy to have you all with us today. Now, quick introductions. So my name is Mark Evan. I am the creative director here at Anyline, and I'll be hosting today's session alongside one of our co-founders and the head of strategic initiatives, David Dang. David is going to give a detailed dive and a look behind the curtain with some screen sharing of our solution itself. And I'll start us off just with a quick overview of who we are and Barcode AI, and then I'll hand over to David. So, that said, quick house rules before we get started. We love having questions from you during the session, and you can go ahead and leave your questions for us in the bottom just by hitting that Q&A button. Type out your question to us. We'll get to it at the end of the session. If you want to send that question anonymously, you certainly can. There's a little checkbox to do that. Just be aware that if we run out of time on today's session and we end up going long, we don't get to your question and it's sent anonymously, it will be very hard to get back in touch with you. So just be aware that that's an option you have, but whatever you choose. And secondly, today, Zoom has a great feature. If English isn't your native language and you'd like to have transcriptions in your preferred language, you can go ahead and hit that show captions button at the bottom of your screen if you have the latest edition of Zoom, that is, and you can choose a language for those transcriptions, which should come to you live. So that's there as an option if English is not your most comfortable language, but otherwise, use it if you wish. Otherwise, you can listen to us and enjoy the session as we go. So let's start today's webinar with a quick look at who we are. Perhaps this is the first time you're hearing about what Anyline is and what Anyline does. At our core, we are an AI-powered company, and we develop mobile inspection solutions for a number of industries. But at our core, we are an AI company. We've been doing this for over 10 years, and we have solutions out in the market for the automotive industry, for the energy and utility space, retail, logistics, and many more. Lots going on in our solutions in a lot of places, but at our core, again, we are an AI company, and that's where we come from. We have a global presence, so I'm coming to you today from our offices in Vienna, Austria, on the eastern side of Austria. David is joining us from the west side of Austria. We also have offices in the USA and India. So we have offices around the world. And we are experts, as I mentioned, on AI, computer vision, and machine learning. It's the core of what this company was built on and founded on, and it continues to be the core of what we develop today, bringing out solutions and pushing the markets forward with the latest and greatest in these technologies. Our technology is in the hands of many Fortune 500 companies and enterprise clients around the world, over 200 active global customers, perhaps a name or two that you find familiar on this screen. Some great leaders of their industries, and we're proud to be working with many more. These are just a few of the ones that we can show and talk about. We have over 750 million scans happening every year, and that number continues to grow. So you have the credibility check to know that our solution is actively used around the world. And we've just ticked over 4 billion all-time scans. So lots of Anyline solutions out there working great. And as I mentioned, 200 plus global enterprise customers. So we're very proud to work with so many different companies in different industries around the world. But let's get to the meat of this presentation. And of course, we're talking today about Barcode AI and barcode scanning. Just a quick high-level overview before we dive deep into our solution with David in a few minutes here. Essentially, what we've done with Barcode AI is we've combined these 3 core elements to bring one powerful SDK solution. So of course, first we have barcode scanning, and we've really focused on this solution being very high performing, built for speed, built for reliability, and ultimate configurability and functionality around the world. So our barcode scanning solution, obviously the core of Barcode AI, and that's just the first element. We've also paired that with augmented reality, a solution that is very prevalent in our other solutions. We've brought it to Barcode as we know that the industry is craving that user interaction and that user interface with AR. And of course, we've built that to be fully configurable, a topic we'll get into in our demo in a few moments. But know that that's something that we're very excited to bring to our barcode scanning solution and have it be customizable for your specific use case. Now, both of those elements are paired with, again, that core of what Anyline is, data capture and being AI powered. So a lot of our data capture solutions and different modules, which I'll show in a moment, allow you to really flex a lot of muscle when it comes to the technology and really having that AI power behind you. So having all three of these elements together, we've brought them together specifically for Barcode AI. And we're very excited to do so. Just a very high level overview here of our SDK, and we're going to unveil that a little bit in more depth coming up in a moment here. But again, just a quick high level overview of the different modules that we offer. So today we're talking about Barcode, which is just one of the many modules that we have. You can see different modules here which pertain to different industries, but all of those modules can be kind of combined and built to your specific use case, and all of them are built under the umbrella of those AI overlays and guidance. So you can really build the perfect solution for yourself with many different modules and solutions, and know that you have that reliability of the AI, AR, and that guidance features. So that's just a high level overview. And now I'm very excited to be able to hand you over to David, who's going to give you a bit more of an in-depth look at our SDK and at Barcode AI. So with that, let me bring my screen down. And David, I'll hand over to you.
Very good. So I will start right off. Your main touch point as a developer is our Anyline documentation. You will find our documentation at documentation.anyline.com. And that's basically the main starting point for all your technical needs. Depending on what platform you're using, we offer a wide range of SDKs. We try to support everything that is out there. So if you don't find your SDK here or your wrapper, please contact us. But we have most of the wrappers out there covered, starting with the mobile SDK for iOS. That's the native SDK. We also have Android and Windows covered. We also support the cross-platform SDKs, Cordova, Flutter, React Native, Xamarin, and .Maui. But if you have anything else that you want to have supported, please let us know. Our SDK can also be used on the web. We have a web SDK, a JavaScript version. You can test it out live at js.anyline.com. And we also offer a cloud API version. That's the REST version of our products that you can integrate into any other product. Most of the wrappers are quite straightforward. I will just show you the documentation for the Cordova wrapper. We have a getting started guide, and all of our wrappers and of our platforms in general include a GitHub demo repository. So if you, that's the best starting point in general for you. If you want to integrate Anyline into your product, the best starting point is just to check out the GitHub repo and dive right in. We have installation instructions for all the platforms and for the examples, so you should feel quite right at home from the get-go. What we will be doing today, sorry, I will show you the iOS SDK and how to integrate the iOS SDK. We will dive in some advanced topics like advanced overlays. But before we get started, I want to give you a general overview of how the SDK works. In general, we have two components, the view and the view plugin. The plugin does the scanning, and the view is the thing that you really add to your application that scans. Here is a screenshot of our Barcode SDK while running. This is generally how it looks if it's in the default configuration. Here you can see the cutout. The cutout is the part where we really do the scanning. You can make the cutout full screen, so you can do full screen scanning or move it up and down. That's usually just a guidance for the user where he should put the point of interest in, because sometimes it's just more convenient for the user to have some guidance on aiming. Usually, also customers place text above to guide the user where they should scan or what they should scan. What you can see below is the default feedback that we offer. It's just a blue box in our default configuration, and you can configure it fully, the cutout and the overlay, later on when I show you the configuration. Without further ado, what we will be doing is we will be looking at the iOS SDK. The SDK and the example can be downloaded from our GitHub repo, as mentioned before. We support multiple installation methods, all the common installation methods for all our wrappers and SDKs. So in general, for iOS, we offer CocoaBots and the Swift Package Manager, and all the common installation methods for all the other plugins and examples that we offer. So this is the iOS examples repository, and I will show you how to configure Anyline and how to integrate Anyline using the iOS examples repository. So first, what we will do is we will configure the SDK. Our SDKs are configured via JSON config. All of our SDKs, including the wrappers. And we support multiple plugins. So we will be configuring the Barcode plugin today, but we also offer meter or bin scanning. And in general, that's configured the same way as the Barcode plugin. We have our Vue plugin config. And within the Vue plugin config, we have the plugin config. And here we have the Barcode configuration. This would be the place where you could also enter other configurations like the meter config. But today we'll only talk about the Barcode config. So to configure Barcode, the most important thing is to use the fast processing mode if you want to have the new and improved processing mode. That's the mode that supports the highest frame rate, especially when you're scanning at higher resolutions. So if you're using the Barcode module, don't forget that flag. For legacy reasons, that's by default off, so you have to turn it on. The barcode formats, we support various barcode formats that you can find on our online documentation. We pride ourselves in supporting a lot of barcode formats, and this is the flag where you can enable them. You can enable multiple ones at the same time. And in this configuration, it's just the all flag. It means that all of the barcodes are enabled. Next, we have consecutive equal result filter. That's something that is -1 by default. What it does is, when you're scanning barcodes, you get a lot of results in a row, and sometimes that's not what you want. Sometimes you want only to have one result and then stop scanning. Sometimes if the same result appears twice, or if you're scanning the same barcode for a very long time, you will get multiple results. You want a delay between the results that you're getting, and this is the flag to configure that. So if it's -1, you will just get every update for every barcode you're scanning. So if you're focusing on one barcode, you will get frequent updates. If you set it to 0, you will just get each barcode only once. And if you increase it, for example, to 100, then it's the flag turns into the delay that you have between scanning the same barcode. So if you focus on one barcode with this setting, it would not get reported at the current frame rate. It would have a delay of 100 milliseconds between each scan. Multi-barcode, that's the flag you have to enable if you want to scan multiple barcodes. If you turn that off, you only scan one barcode. And if you turn it on, you can scan multiple barcodes. We scan up to 30 barcodes in one frame at the moment. And you'll get the results via the delegate call. But if you turn that off, you'll only get one of them. So that's the basic configuration. You don't need to set all of those flags. Those flags are the most important flags that you have to set if you want to fine-tune your barcode scanner. One last flag for the config itself is the cancel on result. That flag determines if you focus on a barcode, if the scanning immediately stops, or if it continues afterwards. So with that configuration, the plugin itself is configured. So you should be able to start the Underline SDK with that config and scan multiple barcodes, all of the multiple barcodes that we support in fast processing mode. One thing to mention is you also have to, you can configure the capture resolution. The resolution is by default 1080p, and you can turn it up to 4K. 4K supports very wide scanning angle, and you can scan at a very high distance. But it comes as at a little bit of a performance loss because obviously we are computing 4 times the pixels. But with our fast processing pipeline, that's still very, very fast, and you reach a very, very high frame rate still with 4K scanning. So that's that. What I want to mention in passing is the cutout config. The cutout config, as I mentioned before, if you're not doing full frame scanning, so if you're not using the full frame, but if you're showing a cutout, you can configure that cutout here. In the cutout config, you can configure the width and height and the alignment. If it's centered, you can also change the color of the cutout and everything related to the cutout. Also, the default feedback is configured. This little blue box is configured in the scan feedback config. You can change a lot about that. Also, how the color, what's the style of it? Is it a rectangle? How it behaves once it's scanned, if it beeps, if it vibrates, the phone, if it vibrates, if there's a blink animation once you finish the scan. All of that can be configured with the configuration. So those are the basic features, and this is how it would look like if you would configure it with that configuration in the default mode. For most of our users, that's fine, and that's good enough, but we also have advanced features where you can customize the overlays, and we will dive into that right now. I'll show you how that looks. So this, for example, is an overlay that is customized. So we're showing not the blue box, but we're showing customized overlay where the barcode appears. This still has a cutout. You could also, as mentioned, make it full screen and use the full screen, but in this configuration and in the example set in general, we still have a cutout. I'll quickly show you how that looks in action, what we're going to implement. This is a little video of the example set in action. I hope the frame rate is low enough that it's working on Zoom. So what we're doing is we're focusing on the barcode. If you tap the overlay, it changes and it shows the barcode value and it turns green, and also multi-barcode scanning is enabled. And again, if you tap it, it shows the content of the barcode. So this is just a little example. Obviously, you can configure that to your liking, but that's our demo example, and I'm going to walk you through how to do that with our iOS example. First and foremost, what you have to do is you have to get a license key from us. With the license key, you will call the setup method, you have to do that at the earliest point, at your convenience, the earliest point. Usually in iOS, that's did finish launch with options. The reason for that is that it does some background setup and it should be ready once you start scanning. And a very important thing to do is to catch the error if there are errors. Our license keys are tied to the bundle ID, and sometimes in testing, it can happen that you're using a test app that has a different bundle ID, and then it's very important to catch that error because if you're using the wrong bundle ID, obviously it won't work, and that's a very common error for our customers to face, and this error message will tell you exactly which bundle ID you're using and which bundle ID your license is for, so you'll catch that error early. So please take care to always catch the errors of the licensing setup process. Once the SDK is set up, we will dive right into the setup, into the view setup. In general, how that works is you configure the Anyline SDK with the JSON config. Once it's configured, you add the scan view to the view, and then you can start scanning. In this example, we'll dive a little bit deeper and we will add our own overlays. And I'll walk you through the whole process of that. So the main thing and the main method is the setup method. In this method, what you can do is you can load the JSON config that we just created or that we just talked about. You will feed it into the scan view, and then the scan view is set up with the settings. And what's very important is that you set the scan plugin delegate to the view that you're using. That's very important on every platform. On the wrappers, that's done automatically for you. But if you're doing it on the native platforms, it's very important because that's the only method, that's the only way that the SDK can really show and send you the results after scanning. We will start the scan process. And with that, the Anyline plugin itself is set up. There is another method to add it to the view hierarchy. And with that, that's the only thing you have to do to really start the Anyline SDK. And that goes for all our use cases, also for meter and wind scanning and for all the other scan methods. It's very simple to configure and very simple to set up. We have a delegate method that we just configured before that will send you the results once they are found. So with this method, you will just receive all the scan results on screen and you can process them with your application. That is the simple setup that you most likely will use if you're not customizing the overlays. But in this example, as I showed you before, what we will do is we will configure the overlays to be custom overlays. For that, what we'll do, there is a simple method that's called enable barcode overlays. Enable barcode overlays takes 3 blocks. There's a block that returns the view itself that we will show, that we want to show. We create it here in the barcode overlays view. That's the little ball you've seen before. There's nothing special happening here. We just create the view. And in this view, and that's very important to mention, you can use and return every valid iOS view. So what you can do if you want to, you can make it interactive, you can make it animated. It's just a standard view on iOS and on Android. And as we've shown in the example before, here we add a tap gesture recognizer, so it's tappable. This tap gesture recognizer handles the tap, and it shows the little label underneath the ball, and it updates the color of the selection. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to make it as powerful as possible, while it's as easy as possible to integrate. So if you want to start small, you can just return simple views, but there are very sophisticated setups you can create with that update block. Here you'll have the method that updates the view once it's created. In this example, we'll just see if the scanned barcode is already on the screen. We'll move it around, and you can do whatever you want to update the view in this block. This will be called at a very, very high frequency, so please use only high performance methods, or at least keep that in mind when implementing the update method. Here we have the delete method. The delete method just is called when a view leaves the screen, so you can remove it from the scanned barcodes array, like we do here, for your application to recognize that the scanned barcode is no longer on the screen. And that's basically everything that we have to do if we want to set up advanced overlays. The only thing that's left to do here is start the camera and get going. So just quickly to recap, what we do is we set up Anyline with the JSON config that we configured before. We add it to the view. We enable the barcode overlays if we want to enable them, and we get the ball rolling and start the camera. And that's how easy it is, but also how powerful it is to integrate our SDK, and how you can customize the overlays to your liking, and also how you can customize the whole SDK and how it appears in default or in advanced mode to your customers. That's basically it from my side. A few additional things I want to mention. We support composite scanning. That makes it possible for the SDK to run several of our plugins at the same time. So what you can do with that is, for example, you can run barcode scanning and price tag scanning at the same time, or you can run meter scanning and barcode scanning at the same time. We have three modes that are supported here. Sequential mode, where you start one scanner. After the scan is complete, the next scanner will appear. Or we have two parallel modes, where you have both scanners at the same time on screen. And in this mode, in the first mode, in the true parallel mode, the first one will disappear after the barcode or the meter, for example, is scanned. And in the parallel first scan mode, both of them will stay on screen, but you will get the first result that is scanned. It's also very easy to set up. Like I showed you before, everything in our every configuration is done via JSON. So you can have a look at our documentation, how to configure that. Here we see the same schema again. It's a view plugin config that contains a plugin config, in this case, several plugin configs and several view plugin configs. There is a lot of other stuff that you can do. Some of that we cannot go into detail today, but I really invite you to have a look at our documentation. There's a wide array of products that we offer. As Mark already mentioned, we have a lot of other plugins that you can use, and there's a very deep configuration array for configurations that you can use to configure our SDK. One last thing I want to mention is, if you want to reach out to us, please, or if you have additional questions, please go to support.anyline.com. We are happy to answer all your questions and also help you integrating the product into your specific application that you have. And also, if you have any other questions, please reach out to us at that address. And with that, I'll see if we have already some questions submitted in the Q&A.
Great. Yeah, nothing so far, but we certainly open up the floor to questions. Anything that maybe you were unclear of that was just shown, but I think, yeah, just as an overview, that was perfectly explained, and I think it shows just how configurable the solution is, and people can really make it their own by doing what they want and configuring how they wish. And I know there's lots down the pipeline as well as far as what's coming, and we're always looking to push it and improve upon everything. So yeah, no, great demo. Thanks so much for that. What I'm gonna do now while we wait for any questions is I'm just gonna pop up the there we go. So I'm just gonna pop up our demo showcase app. So if you're interested in seeing how the basic functionality and the basic configurability works in your environment and on your device, you can go ahead and scan the barcode you see on your screen, the QR code, and that'll bring you to the app store of your choice for your device. And you could download our free barcode showcase app. This will allow you to, again, have the Anyline barcode AI on your device, and you can go ahead and try it in your environment, try it on your device, see how it works, and maybe start thinking about how you can start to customize it for your environment and for your use case to make sure it's optimized. So definitely give that a try. It's free to try, and we want you to be able to see it in real life. Nothing beats being able to see the solution in real life. And then as David just showed, I think you can really start to think about how you'd want to configure it for your specific use case. So you can take advantage of the QR code on your screen now. A link will also be emailed following this presentation, so don't worry if you don't catch it now. But with that said, that is the end of the formal presentation. So if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them now. There's also a QR code on the screen to get in touch with us. If you have further questions, we know from experience that a lot of these use cases are very specific. Perhaps you want to talk about that on a call with our team of experts. So you can take advantage of that now. Again, you can also do that in the follow-up email that you receive, but take advantage if you would like to ask a question. We'll be happy to answer it now with what you've seen. And again, this recording will be sent following this session. So if you do want to see it again or send it to more colleagues within your team, you should be able to take advantage of doing that once the email comes through, as well as see the past webinars that we've done. I'll also make sure a link to that documentation page is in that email, so you can go ahead and check it out, as David explained there. Really robust documentation that we have, a testament to what the team's built over the years, so you can really find everything you need in there. And hopefully that answers a lot of your questions as well. Good. I'm not seeing anything come up, so David, thank you so much for that great demo. I'm not surprised there's no questions with how thorough that was, so that was fantastic. Thank you for that. And thank you everyone for joining us on this webinar. It's been great having you for this series of 5 Barcode ID webinars. We're very excited to have the solution finally out on the market. And we look forward to having a conversation with you about how you can implement it in your use case and in your environment. So with that, we'll bring the session to a close. Again, David, thank you so much for joining us on this session today, and thanks everyone for being with us. We'll see you for a webinar very soon in the near future. For now, have a great day, everybody.